Warning: viewer discretion advised. This presentation contains graphic descriptions of violent crimes and disturbing post-mortem photographs that may be distressing to some viewers. The content discussed includes murder, mutilation, and historical crime scenes, imagery that is not suitable for all audiences. London, 1888. The gas lamps flickered weakly against the rolling fog that choked the narrow streets of Whitechapel. The stench of damp stone, sweat, and something far more acrid clung to the icy mist, settling into his bones like a foreboding whisper. Another murder, another woman torn apart in a manner too grotesque for the public to stomach. He knelt beside the body, the dim lantern light revealing the grisly work of a hand that knew both precision and rage. The throat was cut deep and deliberate, almost surgical. The stomach slashed open, the innards removed with an expertise no common man should possess. Inspector Aberline exhaled sharply. He had seen many terrible things in his years as a detective, but this was a monster's work. He had read the theories, heard the rumors in the precinct. Some believed it was a madman from the asylum, a butcher who had grown bored of livestock. Others claimed it was a man of class, someone with access to medical knowledge and the ability to slip unnoticed into the night. Our boots echo heavily against the cobblestones, each step a reminder that we're chasing shadows, horrors that seem to vanish the moment we get too close. August 7th, 1888. George Yard buildings, silent, save for the distant barking of a mongrel in some alleyway. Martha Tabram lay sprawled on the landing, her body butchered. 39 stab wounds, some delivered with such force they punctured bone. A frenzy. No signs of robbery. Her throat untouched. A different hand here, or the first victim of something worse. August 31st, 1888. Bucks Row. The darkness stretches like an unbroken void, broken only by the dim glow of a gas lamp. Mary Ann Nichols lies in its feeble light, her throat slashed so deeply that it nearly severs her head. Her abdomen is a mess of carnage, sliced, mutilated. There is method here. This is no frenzied attack. The hand that did this was practiced, calculated. September 8th, 1888, Hanbury Street. A backyard. The smell of blood lingers in the cold morning air. Annie Chapman lays in a pool of blood. Her throat cut clean through. Her body ripped open. Her organs removed, taken. Why? A grim souvenir? A message? Or something more grotesque? Chief Inspector Aberline steels himself, knowing this is not the end. The killer is gaining confidence. The suspects were numerous, yet none of them seemed to fit quite right. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber whose erratic behavior had drawn suspicion. Witnesses swore he had a darkness about him, a gleam in his eye that unsettled even the hardened officers. But no evidence could tie him to the murders, no testimony solid enough to convict. He was sent away, locked in an asylum. For all that, the killings continued. William Henry Berry. The way he killed his wife bore uncanny similarities to the RIPPER'S method. He lived in Whitechapel, walked the same streets. His wife was a former prostitute, but his crime lacked the signature organ removal as the Ripper. Inspector Aberline had heard the rumors circulating around the corridors of Scotland Yard. There were those who believed that Prince Albert Victor, the Duke of Clarence, the Queen's grandson, had fallen victim to syphilis, contracted from prostitutes, his mind slowly unraveling into delusional madness, but that was a preposterous notion. September 30th, 1888. The devil himself has made a mockery of us tonight, a double murder. Elizabeth Stride in Dutfield's yard, throat cut, no mutilations. Was he interrupted? Was he unsatisfied? Less than an hour later, Mitre Square. We're standing over what remains of Catherine Eddowes. She's been carved far worse than before. Her cheeks and eyelids butchered, her abdomen gapes wide open, her left kidney gone, partial removal of her uterus. Unlike Annie Chapman, whose uterus was entirely taken, the murderer had time here, time to work, time to enjoy. The blood beneath our boots is still warm. The letter was simply titled, From Hell. Unlike the countless false claims and hoaxes that flooded the police and newspapers, this one was different. It was not sent to Scotland Yard or Inspector Abberline, nor found at a crime scene. Instead, it was addressed to one man, George Lusk, chairman of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. A chilling message, accompanied by half of a human kidney, delivered straight to the desk of a civilian. The letter itself was crude, not just in content, but in structure. The handwriting was uneven, the words misspelled, and the grammar fragmented, almost as if the writer was either uneducated or deliberately masking their actual intellect. Was this the work of a madman or a calculated effort to throw investigators off the trail? The message, however, was chillingly clear. From hell. Mr. Lusk, sir, I send you half the kidney I took from one woman, preserved for you. The other piece I fried and ate. It was very nice. I may send you the bloody knife that took it out if you wait a little longer. Signed, Catch me when you can, Mr. Lusk. November 9th, 1888. For the first time in his career, Chief Inspector Frederick Abberline hesitated. Nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to see, and he knew it. Nothing could have prepared anyone. The room was no longer a room. It was a slaughterhouse. Every wall and every surface drank in the horror, soaked in blood that seeped into the very bones of Miller's Court. The bed was unrecognizable, swallowed whole by what was once a woman. Mary Jane Kelly. Her body, if it could be described as such. Every shred of flesh, every drop of blood spoke not of a man who kills in haste, but of a beast, a devil, unlike anything Whitechapel had ever seen. Several of the men stumbled back, their faces drained of color. 2 officers had to step outside, gasping for air, their stomachs threatening to betray them. Even Chief Inspector Abberline, hardened by years of investigating horrors of Whitechapel, fought the urge to retch. Everything that had once been inside her was ripped away, her body hollowed out until what remained lay open like an empty coffin. Her organs, her liver, her kidneys, her uterus were strewn across the room, placed beside her fragmented flesh as if arranged by a twisted artist. Her heart was nowhere to be found. One witness claimed to have seen her at 2 a.m., a shadowed figure by her side, a blotchy face and dark overcoat. Some say she sang that night, her voice drifting into the early hours. Others say the man left before dawn, unnoticed, melting into the filth of Whitechapel. But no one heard her screams. No one heard the carnage at work. And when the sun finally rose over Dorset Street, the world came face to face with the darkest abyss of hell. July 17, 1889, Castle Alley. After 8 months of uneasy silence, the horror begins again. Alice Mackenzie. Her throat slashed, her body left in the open as if waiting to be found. The cuts, familiar yet different. Copycat or the Ripper's return? The rumors start again. Has he come back or did he never leave? February 13, 1891, Swallow Gardens. A railway arch, Frances Coles. Her throat, cut deep but with no further mutilation. The wound is fresh. The body still warm when we arrive. The Ripper, or just another soul devoured whole by Whitechapel's darkness? I wonder if we will ever know. The 10 Bells stood at the heart of Whitechapel's restless nights, its ale, slick floors and smoky air offering a brief escape to those who had little else. Mary Jane Kelly had often been seen there, laughing, drinking, her Irish lilt carrying over the din, drunken voices and the scrape of boots on wood. It was a place where women like her and Catherine Eddowes could evade the gnawing chill, warming their hands around a glass of gin, if only for a fleeting moment. But the 10 Bells was no sanctuary. Beyond its doors, Whitechapel's streets were unkind to the desperate, and Mary had grown all too familiar with the cruel dance of survival. Is her story truly over? Some say the ghost of Mary Jane Kelly still lingers in Whitechapel, a shadowy figure, draped in tattered red, seen sitting at the bar as if waiting for someone who will never come. Bartenders and patrons alike have sworn they've seen her, a pale woman with sorrowful eyes only to glance back and find the seat empty. Perhaps it is only a trick of the light, a product of too many whispered tales, or perhaps some horrors refuse to rest. Their names remain etched in history. The canonical five, the women most widely believed to be victims of Jack the Ripper: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Jane Kelly. And the others, women whose barbaric murders remain shrouded in mystery, some suspected to be the Ripper's work, others possibly victims of another hand: Martha Tabram, Alice Mackenzie, Frances Coles, brutally murdered beyond human comprehension. Over a century has passed, yet the identity of Jack the Ripper remains a mystery. The case has never been solved. The theories continue, the speculation never ends. But behind the legend, behind the horror, they were real women, and they deserve to be remembered. Thanks for watching. Storytime with Paranormal Tendency.